What's going on, YouTube, and welcome on in. Go ahead and have a seat, grab a pencil and pen, because Professor Carr is going to share some knowledge with you guys on all the weird terms, names, nicknames, abbreviations that you might have heard. E7 lingo, essentially. You know what I'm talking about. Things like DDJ, Gab, 15%, 50-50. We're going to cover all of that today. I'm going to break it up into a few parts. That way you can easily refer back to, remember it. And I'm trying to catch us all up because I get a lot of questions. This was actually a highly requested video, but I'm trying to get my new players or returning players caught up on all the terms. That way we can all, as a community, right, use those abbreviations, use those nicknames, save some breath, and it's nice to just have our inside language, right? So do me two favors, guys. My newer players, if there's anything I miss at all, something you've heard, seen that I don't cover, leave any questions in the comments below. I'll answer every single one. And if I have any more experienced or veteran players watching, if you notice there's something I missed that you see a lot, go ahead and just type out what it means and just let's all help share the knowledge so we can all be on the same page together as a community. All right? So, oh, real fast, guys. Do you like my new waifu table? It's pretty nice, huh? Okay, anyways, let's get on with the video. All right, y'all. The first category we're going to cover and explain are hero abbreviations and hero archetypes, okay? So go ahead and come with me over here to the team page. Let's start with nicknames 1. You're going to hear things like, and I'll put it on the screen, LRK, SSB, FCC, Tea Time. Now that I put the heroes here in place, it'll sort of make more sense, right? LRK, Last Rider Crow, FCC, Fallen Cecilia, Tea Time, or F10 you'll see a lot is, of course, Fairy Tale Tenebria, and then SSB, which you all will be getting very soon, Seaside Bologna. The next set of the nicknames, same sort of scenario, guys. LQC stands for Little Queen Charlotte. DJB is Desert Jewel Bazaar, of course. Now, you might hear like Dilibet or like Tomika, who would be Top Model Luluka, and Dilibet is Designer Lilibet. Just sort of try to piece them together, guys. You'll sort of use context clues in the beginning. If it sounds like they're talking about a hero, try to look at what heroes start with those abbreviations. It'll sort of help. You'll catch on very, very quick the way, you know, the community sort of labels things. Amaru is a little bit difficult though, guys, because she is, if you're not a big lore character or you're super new to the game, she's a the boss of, or a Mercedes. I'm trying not to say any spoilers, guys, but Mercedes is connected to her, so you'll hear the term Meru, which is a nickname for Mercedes. So if you hear Amaru, they mean Archdemon Mercedes, but of course, the lore wise, it's just her shadow, so it's just called Archdemon Shadow. That's a little bit of a tricky one, but on the last part, guys, there will be terms like Golden Boys, okay? You might have heard the term Golden Boys. You might not hear it as much now because they're not as dominant as they used to be, but the term Golden Boys, of course, refers to, as y'all can tell, guys, a lot of light units, blonde guys, and then, of course, their pet cat. But these were all very, very strong Moonlight units, Moonlight 5s especially, okay? Now, while we're on this page too, let's go ahead and talk about terms like Bruiser, Cleaver, and then Cleanser and Debuffer. We'll get to all of that. So let's start with Bruisers, right? As well as, real fast, guys, ML5, of course, Moonlight, 5-star. ML4, Moonlight, 4-star. ML just means Moonlight. I'm sure a lot of y'all know that because of the Moonlight connection, right, that we all got pretty recently. But anyways, let's start with Bruisers and I guess Cleavers as well. So Bruisers are typically units like General Purgus, okay? He's a good example of a bruiser. They build a lot of tankiness. They want a lot of stats, so they're pretty greedy. Think of units like G Purgus, who has HP scaling. Ravi is another term of a bruiser. Basically, units that have a lot of bulk but also do damage. They're bruisers. They're very greedy on stats. They're units that aren't knights. So Ambitious Tywin and Last Rider Crow, you might hear people refer to them as bruisers as well because, you know, they're tanky damage dealers, but you'll most likely hear of them as knights, okay? That's just the archetype. Knights can also do a lot of damage, like Bruiser Tywin is also a knight. It's going to get a little confusing at first, guys, but it'll all make sense soon. And then Last Rider Crow, it could also be considered a cleaver, and let's get to that term real fast. Cleaver, typically you think of a unit like Arbiter Vildred, units that do AoE, which is area of effect damage, so they hit a lot of different units at once, and that's the most exact term for cleaving. It'll also be a term for speed cleave, which is teams like Judge Kisei plus auxiliary lots, Challenger Dominial. You want to go fast, you kill the opponent in like one fell swoop. Now things have sort of I guess evolved, and cleaving is more of a broad term that can include units like Operator Cigarette, Like I said, Challenger to Menial. They do single target, but you know, people have extended the term to kind of just mean when you cleave someone, you're hitting them so hard that they have no chance to retaliate. It's sort of a broad term, but at the essence, it is hitting multiple targets at once. So area of effect or AoE units like Arbiter Vildred. Did you notice, guys? I just hit y'all with like 20 different terms in that one sentence. So AoE, RB, cleaving, etc. If you guys need any help, extra explanations of that, because it's a lot to take in, just let me know. After that, guys, we have, speaking of Designer a little bit earlier, Designer a little bit would be a good example of Cleanser. Let's talk about Cleansers and Debuffers. So opposite of Bruisers, Cleavers, things like that, we have the Cleansers and the Debuffers, right? Cleanser is like Designer Lilibet and the new Mediator Queric are Warrior Cleansers. So cleansing just means they can remove harmful effects or debuffs. That's another abbreviation or term you guys might not be aware of, but debuffs are harmful effects on your character. Think of things like defense break, unbuffable, stuns, sleeps, etc. Okay, they're most commonly, besides those warriors I just mentioned, you'll usually see them on a lot of soul weavers, maybe Chloe, Ruel, Destina, Montmorency. Anyone that can actually remove the buffs or debuffs, we would consider those cleansers. Okay. On the opposite end, the ones that are, you know, the need for cleansers arise from units that do debuffs, debilitating effects or harmful effects, like Bazaar, who will apply unbuffable and then his skill 2, decrease hit chance and attack down. Okay, other units are like Briar Witch Iceria, Dizzy has a million debuffs. Hopefully that can help you guys out with the archetypes. So Bruiser, Cleavers, Cleansers, and Debuffers. Okay, next on, let's move on to some simple artifact abbreviations. Alright guys, let's move on to artifact abbreviations. So let's open up the artifact page. We're going to cover things like DDJ, MLDB, Book, Gab, Basket, CR Push, CC. You know, those last two, you'll see why I brought them in, as well as the word DGen, okay? So let's start with the easy ones. DDJ, of course, stands for Daydream Joker. You've probably heard me talk about this. Every player will learn this very early because of Wyvern. After that, we have MLDB, of course, stands for Moonlight Dreamblade, one of the best art in the game. If you hear the word book, guys, and it's in reference to like mages, this is of course also one of the best artifacts. Taga, Hell's Ancient Book. Guys, make sure you save up as many of those as possible. Gab / Basket is going to be the famous Alexa's Basket. And Gab, guys, means greater attack buff. So if you notice here, 40% chance to grant attack of greater or greater attack buff, or 40% chance to win the game. That's kind of a joke, guys. Other than that, we have things like CR Push, and I'll use some good examples of those terms. CR, of course, stands for Combat Readiness, and if we look at an artifact like Idol's Cheer, CR right here, guys, Combat Readiness, and CR Push can refer to a lot of things. Idol's Cheer would be a CR Push, but typically it'll be in terms of heroes like sorry guys, trying to brain fart here a little. Oh, Tamarin, of course. Tamarin on her is skill 3 can combat readiness or boost your team with a percentage so they go faster, their turns come up quicker. Okay, CC is the term for crowd control, which is a common video game term. If you guys have ever played any like MMOs or things like that, a good example of that would be like Abyssal Crown. Anything that stuns, sleeps, locks your opponent or enemy out of using actions, we consider those crowd control effects. Now, I also said I threw in the word. Let's go ahead with a bonus word, DGen. Speaking of Moonlight Dreamblade, you might heard of the word or the name DGen Arby. That means Degenerate Arbiter Vildred, and it refers to a specific build. This one, guys, it's a term you're just gonna have to kind of piece together yourself or ask someone like in this video, because it's not very common knowledge, but it sort of refers to the tanky counter Moonlight Dreamblade style of Arbiter Vildred. I can only assume Degenerate because it is a very annoying build to fight. It's not your typical Arbiter Vildred, and if they dodge, counter, and whatever, the RB is just such a pain in the butt. Okay, so that's why they call it Degen RB. All right, guys, I think that wraps up the artifacts. Let's move on just to some general number abbreviations. All right, for number abbreviations, we have terms like 50/50, 15%, speed RNG, EHP, gear score, eye level, and last but not least, I threw in optimizer. We'll tie it all in neatly. You'll understand what I'm talking about here in just a moment, okay? Let's go ahead and start with the term 50/50. I don't think I have a great example offhand. Let me see if I can try and find one real fast for you guys. Scrolling through my units real quick. Okay, my Archdemon's Shadow, right? Or a Meru trying to quiz y'all real fast. Amero, the nickname. Crit chance 87%, guys. Of course, that's not 100. So E7 as a community, we sort of joke. Typically, you'll see it higher in things like 95, even 99. But basically, guys, anything that's not 100%, we call that 50-50 crit. It's funnier when it's like 99%. But this, in essence, guys, it's sort of like, think of it as an inside joke, where if you're not 100% crit, you're always 50-50. It's a coin flip, random chance. So better cap your crit chance out at 100%, guys, or you'll get memed on. After that, we have the term 15%. And that'll refer to effect. 15% is the chance to be resisted, effect resistance. If you didn't know in this game, we're not going to get too far in depth with this. Same with speed RNG coming up next. Just understand that when you try to do debuffs, right, guys? The term we used earlier. When you hit a unit with a debuff, think of Wyvern 13 or Wyvern in general. If we try to defense break the Wyvern, he always has a 15% chance to resist it, even if your effectiveness covers the Wyvern's effect resist by a millionfold, okay? Just in this game, that's how the way Smilegate designed it. Every unit, every enemy will always have a 15% base chance that you cannot ignore unless your name is Bazaar and your skill says it. You can't ignore that 15%, okay? That's what 15% refers to. Speed RNG, we're also not going to get too far into this, guys, but just understand when two units are similar speed, there is something that goes in effect called speed RNG, which, you know, random number generated. It's just going to be a random chance at who goes first. Okay, so that's what speed RNG refers to. EHP is a combination of defense and health. So if you can see here, my Ameru has 1700 defense, 14k health. That'll, if you combine those, it's typically either a calculator or the optimizer. We come up with a term called EHP. Now, new players, don't worry about this too much. However, once you start reaching mid-game, late game, especially when you want to start min-maxing stats, guys, it's a good term to know because as you should, or maybe you're not aware, but as you should know, bulk or tankiness of a unit, it's better, it's a lot of times it's easier to manage through effective HP. That way we don't have to worry about hitting a specific defense or health number threshold. Instead, we worry about the overall effective HP, okay? So that's just a combination of defense and health. Now, on top of that, before we get to the optimizer, you'll see a lot, guys, the term eye level, which just refers to item level. So as you can see here, this would be an eye level 90 gear. There's eye level 88 found from raids, and then eye level 85, of course, is just base, you know, drops from, let's say, Wyvern, for example. Gear score, and then the optimizer, okay? Guys, if you hear those words, go ahead and refer to my video. I have a guide on it. Typically, we're talking about the Fribbles optimizer. But just so you know, it's a nifty tool that you can use, and it'll give you terms like EHP, gear score, item level, things like that. And basically, it's a shortcut. It's a tool to help you gear all your units efficiently. Now, new players, if you only have a few heroes, very little gear, don't worry about it. But once you start to accrue a lot more resource, a lot more units, a lot more equipment, look into it. Watch one of my videos or look up the guide itself. Big shout out to Fribbles. It's an amazing, amazing tool that I think a lot of y'all should be aware of. So not only are we learning about abbreviations, we're learning about some special tools as well to help you on your E7 journey. Okay, after that, last but not least, let's go ahead and just talk about some general E7 terms to round out the video. All right, y'all, the last section, like I said, general E7 terms. We're going to cover things like bricking, inting, rolling, gem reforge, RTA, free-to-play dolphin whale, right side gear, and then OP broken, busted. Okay, let's start with bricking. You might hear that, guys. Essentially, it's bricking means you destroy or ruin typically an item, right? Or sometimes it can be used in terms of summons. You'll hear Cars building a brick mansion when he summoned for his viewers. It means I ruined all your summons, we didn't get anything good. Or most likely it's where people are talking about gear. So remember my arena gear video, guys? A lot of y'all said, Car, I get nothing but effectiveness or effect resist. Well, we would say this destruction piece, right, that has attack and offensive subs, we would have preferred to hit a lot more crit chance and crit damage, but unfortunately, or maybe not too bad, we hit a lot of effectiveness. Some of y'all have like 40% ER or effect resist on some of your gear. That would be considered a brick, okay? Next up, we have the term inting. You might hear this one a lot too. It is, I think it started in League of Legends. Guys, let me know in the comments below where that actually came from, but it means intentionally feeding, or intentionally running it down mid, which if you refer to E7, guys, inting just means intentionally losing, okay? You did something that cost you the match. It doesn't always have to mean intentionally, but yeah, it just means you're losing, essentially, okay? After that, we have the term rolling. Guys, rolling is just, I think of rolling the dice, okay? Typically it's with rolling gear. So like I talked about with this ring, we rolled stats and of course we bricked it, but that is still just a term for rolling. You roll the stats, you roll the gear, okay? On top of that, guys, let's go ahead and go into the ring. Some of my returning players, you missed out something great called gem reforging. I reference a lot in my videos and I got a few comments. Car, what the heck is a gem reforge? Well, in expeditions, there's these things that can now let you re-roll substats. So if I wanted to get rid of that effectiveness, I could if I have the appropriate material, okay? So I could change that effectiveness to attack or whatever is missing on the piece, all right? So that's what gem reforges mean. Now, RTA, guys, I got a few questions on that. Real-time arena, it's the mode where you actually face an opponent in real time, unlike the normal arena, which is just versus artificial intelligence or AI-controlled opponents. Let's move on to F2P dolphin and whale, guys. That refers to someone's spending habits. So if you watched my last video, guys, with Careless, he spent probably, if I had to guess, I think he mentioned 50,000, 100,000, somewhere in that ballpark, guys, and that's US dollars, something like that. We would consider him a whale. Dolphin is anything in between that and free to play. So free to play, of course, a lot of y'all, shout out to you guys in chat, or not in chat, but in YouTube, if you're trying to, you know, either for your own reasons or maybe just poor college students like I used to be very recently. You know, we want to keep things free to play. We don't spend any money. Dolphin is anything between that and then someone who spends thousands, tens of thousands, etc. It's a term. There's no real definition. It is what it is. You know, the definition can be broad on that, but it's spending habits. After that, guys, we have right side gear. That's something that came up. So if you look at, let's just open up Amaro. Guys, right side gear refers to the necklace, the ring, and the boots. Literally the right side of the equipment panel. It's that simple. Now, the right side gear is typically more important. Let's use a better example here. Like, if you notice the right side main stat, unlike this, they're all flat stats, guys. And if you weren't aware, main percentages are 99% of the time way better. So right side gear is usually more preferable to favor roll first. Just make sure you get, right? Because crit damage percent, defense percent, and then speed is so valuable. And then on the left side gear, you just have things like flat attack, flat health, flat defense. Not as important as right side gear, okay? But that's as simple as it is. Right side gear, left side gear. Weapon, helmet, chest for left, neck, ring, boots for right side gear. Last but not least, guys, we have the terms OP, broken, busted. You might have seen Carr clickbait his thumbnails titles with that. OP stands for overpowered. Broken, we would consider a unit like maybe the newly buffed Carrot. Guys, broken doesn't mean literally broken. It means they are either overbuffed, they're in a game state where they are just too strong. They break the game rules, like a unit like Seaside Bologna when her first introduced, or some people might still consider broken. She's more manageable now, but yeah, that's what we mean by OP, broken, busted, same exact thing. They're just hyperbolic terms to explain very powerful, very, very obscene, disgusting units that are just way, way too strong. All right. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this helps you new players or returning players out. Anything I missed, leave in the comments below. And yeah, thank you so much, guys, for all the support. Lots more videos coming. Catch you all in the next one. Peace out, guys.